Alright, so we're going to pick up where we left off yesterday. We had Claudio confront Hero about what he believed to be her cheating on him in a pretty awful way at her own wedding in front of the entire congregation. We have Hero being overcome by the accusation and passing out. And then Don, John, Pedro, and Claudio leaving the stage. We are going to see today the reaction of the rest of the assembled to the accusation. So how Leonardo feels about the accusation, and Beatrice. Benedict is a bystander there. He's going to make a couple comments, but I'm kind of just observing. And then ultimately the friar, what his reaction is. And that's what we're going to read today. And we'll have some commentary as we go along about Shakespeare and parents and fathers and mothers, because I think it's a really interesting thing that runs through all of Shakespeare's works, or a lot of Shakespeare's works anyways, is the absence of the mother, and then the idea that the worst thing that can possibly happen to a man is being cuckolded, and then a father's reaction to his daughter being not a maiden, should we say. All right, let's take a look.
How doth the lady?
Dead, I think. Help, Uncle. Hero. Why, Hero. Uncle, Signor Benedict, Friar.
Oh, fate, take not away thy heavy hand. Death is the fairest cover for her shame that may be wished for.
Okay, so here's the first of Leonardo's terrible things that he says. She appears dead, and then she starts to stir, and Leonardo says, take not thy heavy hand. Death is the fairest cover for her shame. Basically, if he assumes that this is true and says her shame warrants her death. A terrible thing to say about your daughter.
How now, Cousin Hero?
Have comfort, lady.
Dost thou look up?
Yeah. Wherefore should she not?
Wherefore? Why, doth not every earthly thing cry shame upon her? Could she here deny the story that is printed in her blood? Do not live, Hero. Do not open thine eyes. For did I think thou wouldst not quickly die, thought I thy spirits were stronger than thy shames, myself would, on the rearward of reproaches, strike at thy life.
I would kill you myself.
Even I had but one. Chid I, for that had frugal nature's frame. Oh, one too much by thee. Why had I one? Why ever wast thou lovely in my eyes? Why had I not with charitable hand took up a beggar's issue at my gates, who smirched thus and mired with infamy? I might have said, no part of it is mine. This shame derives itself from unknown loins.
He says, I was mad at nature for only giving me one child, but now I see that that one was too many. I should have just taken up some orphan off the streets, because if that orphan shamed me as you have shamed me, at least I could say, well, it didn't come from me. It's no part of me, my loins. Whew. So remember, not only, like, we have to also remember the context, right? Hero is awakening from passing out from her husband just leaving her at the altar, and shaming her publicly, and now her father is like piling on top of that.
But mine and mine I loved, and mine I praised, and mine that I was proud on, mine so much that I myself was to myself not mine, valuing of her. Why, she is fallen into a pit of ink, that the wide sea hath drops too few to wash her clean again, and salt too little, which may seasoned give to her foul tainted flesh.
It's really mean.
Sir, be patient.
Even Benedict
For
sees
my
it.
part, I am so attired in wonder I know not what to say.
Oh, on my soul, my cousin is belied.
Beatrice defends
Lady,
Hero.
Were you her last night?
No, truly not. Although until last night, I have this 12-month been her bedfellow.
Okay, so Benedict says, "Hey, did you spend the night in Hero's bedroom last night?" And Beatrice says, "No, I didn't, but the last year I have been basically her roommate." Well, Leonardo's not going to like that.
Confirmed, confirmed. Oh, that is stronger made, which was before barred up with ribs of iron. Would the two princes lie, and Clario lie, who loved her so that, speaking of her foulness, washed it with tears? Hence from her. Let her die.
Jeez.
Hear me a little, for I have only been silent so long, and given way onto this course of fortune. By noting of the lady, I have marked 1,000 blushing apparitions to start into her face, 1,000 innocent shames. In angel whiteness beat away those blushes, and in her eye there hath appeared a fire, to burn the arrows that these princes hold against her maiden truth. Call me a fool, trust not my reading nor my observations, which with experimental seal doth warrant the tenor of my book. Trust not my age, my reverence, calling, nor divinity, if the sweet lady lie not guiltless here, under some biting error.
The friar basically says, "Hey, look, I've been watching Hero this whole time, and I saw all of the things flash across her face. You don't have to believe anything I say. Don't believe any of my sermons, any of my wisdom, if I'm wrong about this, but I think Hero is innocent. This has been a mistake."
Friar, it cannot be. Thou seest that all the grace that she hath left is that she will not add to her damnation a sin of perjury. She not denies it.
Hero hasn't denied
Why
it yet.
seekest thou then to cover with excuse that which appears in proper nakedness?
Lady, what man is he you are accused of?
They know that do accuse me. I know none. If I know more of any man alive than that which maiden modesty doth warrant, let all my sins lack mercy. O my father, prove you that any man with me conversed at hours unmeet, or that I yesternight maintained the change of words with any creature, refuse me, hate me, torture me to death.
Hero kind of plays into the inherent misogyny here, because she says, "Oh, if I did anything that was unmaidenly, you can torture me or kill me." Basically, she denies it, which is good because it's not true, and so she should deny it. But then I don't know, it's a little bit problematic here, right? Shakespeare has this theme through many of his plays, and you saw it in Othello too, that basically the worst thing that can happen to a man is that he's cheated on, and so then his women must also play that role, right? Like I would never do that, right? And we see in Othello, the woman who is accused of doing it and the woman who thinks that it's okay to do it are both killed.
There is some strange misprision in the princes.
Two of them have the very bent of honor. And if their wisdoms be misled in this, the practice of it lives in John, the bastard.
So Benedict sees,
whose spirits toil in frame of
if anybody did anything wrong, it's
I
John.
know not. If they speak but truth of her, these hands shall tear her. If they wrong her honor, the proudest of them shall well hear of it.
Okay, so Leonardo basically says, I don't know. He's in doubt now about whether it's true, but he's like, if it's true, I'll kill her, and if it isn't true, I'll kill them.
Time hath not yet so
He's going to talk about
dried
how
this
he's
blood of
old,
mine,
but he can
nor
still do
age
stuff
so eat up my
because I'm rich and
invention,
powerful.
Nor fortune made such havoc of my means, nor my bad life reft me so much of friends. But they shall find awaked in such a kind both strength of limb and policy of mind, ability in means and choice of friends, to quit me of them throughly.
Pause a while, and let my counsel sway you in this case. Your
All right,
daughter here,
here's the plan.
princess left for dead. Let her a while be secretly kept in, and publish it that she is dead indeed, maintain a mourning ostentation, and on your family's old monument, hang mournful epitaphs, and do all rites that appertain unto a burial.
I don't know what it is with friars in Shakespearean plays, but they love to pretend that young women are dead so that they can carry out crazy plans. This happened in Romeo and Juliet. You probably remember with Friar Lawrence, where he gave her the potion and she was buried in her family tomb until Romeo could come get her, and we all know how that turned out. And Friar Francis is basically like, hey, they think she's dead, so let's just pretend that she is dead for the next couple days. Have a funeral for her, do everything that you would normally if somebody died. And Leonardo's gonna be like,
What shall become of this? What will this do?
Mary, this well-carried shall on her behalf change slander to remorse. That is some good, but not for the dream. I on the strange course, but on this travail, look for a great birth. She dying, as it must be so maintained. Upon the instant that she was accused, shall be lamented, pitied, and excused of every hearer. For it so
when
falls
people
out
find out she
that
died,
what we
basically,
have
they'll feel bad for her
we
and they'll
praise
no
not
longer
to the
think
world,
poorly of her.
whilst we enjoy it, but being lacked and lost, why, then we rack the value. Then we find the virtue that possession would not show us, whilst it was ours.
Shakespeare with a little philosophy here, basically. It so falls out that what we have we prize not to the worth whiles we enjoy it, but being lacked and lost, why then we rack the value. Then we find the virtue that possession would not show us while it was ours. He's basically saying you don't know what you got till it's gone. And that's how Claudio's going to feel. Once he knows that Hero is dead, Claudio will then be remorseful about how he treated her. And remember how awesome she really was.
So will it fare with Claudio. When he shall hear that she died upon his words, the idea of her life shall sweetly creep into a study of imagination, and every lovely organ of her life shall come apparelled in more precious habit, more moving, delicate, and full of life, into the eye and prospect of his soul. Then, when she lived indeed, then shall he mourn. If ever love had interest in his liver, and wish he had not so accused her. No, though he thought his accusation true, let this be so, and doubt not but success will fashion the event in better shape. Then I can lay it down in likelihood. But if all aim but this be levelled false, the supposition of the lady's death will quench the wonder of her infamy. And if it sought not well, you may conceal her, as best befits her wounded reputation, in some reclusive and religious life, out of all eyes, tongues, minds, and injuries.
I love this little last line here. He basically is just saying what we've already talked about, but then at the end he's like, and you know what, if my plan doesn't work, you can just make her a nun.
Being that I flow in grief, the smallest twine may lead me.
'Tis well consented, presently away, for to strange source, strangely they strain the cure. Come, lady, die to live. This wedding day, perhaps is but prolonged. Have patience and endure.
Okay, so this is another problem with the play. He says, come lady, die to live, so pretend you're dead so that you can live free again. This wedding day perhaps is but prolonged, meaning like, hey, this guy that just shamed you at the altar, yeah, don't worry, we'll fix it and you can marry him again. Not sure that's great, but that's what it is. All right, that's the end of the reading for today. Tomorrow we're going to have a conversation between Benedict and Beatrice. Make sure you go check out the discussion post.